It was one of those peaceful mornings that I had almost forgotten existed. The sun spilled golden light through the trees. My daughter Lily was giggling as she fed our golden retriever, and for a moment everything felt normal again after her accident. In recovery, every laugh was a blessing, but peace doesn't last long in a neighborhood ruled by an HOA, especially when the president is Karen. Karen lived 3 houses down, always watching, always judging if a trash bin was left out for a second. Too long, she'd report it if a car parked a little crooked. She'd take a picture, and for some reason, I had a special hatred for my family. Maybe because I'd once refused to pay one of her made-up fines, or maybe because I'd told her to. Stop glaring at my daughter every time she rolled down the sidewalk in her wheelchair. Whatever the reason, she had made it clear, we weren't welcome here. It was a sunny Saturday morning. My husband was at work, and I was tending to my garden while Lily practiced maneuvering her wheelchair down the driveway. She had this radiant smile, proud of how fast she was getting then. I heard a familiar, annoying voice, Tyler, Karen's teenage son, 16, arrogant, and a perfect reflection of his mother. He was riding his bike down the street, phone in hand, music blasting. He stopped right in front of Lily, smirking, still using that thing. He said, "Don't you know normal kids walk?" Lily froze, her smile fading. I turned stunned. "Excuse me," Tyler circled her like a shark, just saying maybe if you tried harder. Before I could react, he kicked one of her wheelchair's wheels. The sound was awful. Metal crunching, plastic cracking, and my daughter screamed as the chair tipped. "Tyler," I shouted, running toward. Then he just laughed. "Hey, maybe she shouldn't block the sidewalk." "HOA rules, you know, don't you dare," I yelled, kneeling beside Lily, who was crying, her hands scraped and knees bleeding, but when I looked up, he was already pedaling away, laughing. Like it was a joke, I cleaned Lily's wounds, calmed her down, and called my husband. He was furious, but I wasn't waiting for him to get home. I stormed straight to Karen's house. She opened the door before I could even knock, arms crossed, smirk. "Already in place? If this is about my son," she said, "I already know. He told me your daughter was in the way again. In the way." I shouted. "He attacked her. He smashed her wheelchair." Karen rolled her eyes. "Oh, please," Tyler said. "She hit him. Maybe if she wasn't playing in the street, she was in our driveway." I cut in, trembling with rage. "He needs to apologize and pay for the damages." Karen's smile vanished. "You should teach your daughter not to be so dramatic and maybe find a neighborhood better suited for your situation. This community has standards." That word standards felt like a knife I left before I said something that would get me arrested, but inside I was already burning. We filed a report that night. The officer was polite but dismissive. "Look, ma'am, he's a minor," he said. "If there's damage, file a civil claim. These HOA disputes can get messy. A civil claim." My daughter's wheelchair was destroyed and her spirit broken. Days passed. No one followed up. Karen and Tyler carried on like nothing happened. Every time I saw them, they'd smirk. Lily stopped going outside. She wouldn't even roll to the mailbox. I felt powerless until one phone call changed everything. My oldest, Jake, called that night. He was a Marine stationed overseas. He immediately heard something in my voice. "Mom," he said. "What's wrong?" I told him everything about Tyler, the wheelchair, and how the police brushed it off. There was a long pause on the line. Then Jake said quietly, "I'll be home this weekend." When Jake's car pulled into the driveway 3 days later, I felt a rush of relief. Lily lit up when she saw him. "Jake," she cried, rolling as fast as she could into his arms. He hugged her tight, then looked at the bent wheelchair. His expression darkened. "Who did this?" he asked softly. "Tyler," Lily said. "Karen's son." Jake stood up, calm, steady, controlled, the kind of calm that only comes from someone trained to handle chaos. He walked down the street straight toward Karen's house. Karen was trimming her roses, pretending she didn't see him. Tyler was lounging on the porch with his phone. Jake stopped at the end of their driveway. "You the one who broke my sister's wheelchair?" Tyler looked up, annoyed. "Yeah, what if I was?" Jake's voice didn't rise. "Then you're going to make it right." Karen looked up. "Excuse me, sir, you can't come here and threaten my son." Jake turned to her. "Ma'am, your son assaulted a disabled child. That's not a neighborhood issue. That's criminal." Karen sneered. "You think you can intimidate me because you wear a uniform? I run this community." Jake's jaw tightened. "No, ma'am, you run your mouth." Then he pulled out his phone and hit record. "Go ahead," he said. "Explain to the HOA and the police why your son destroyed a wheelchair and mocked a disabled kid." Tyler froze. "You can't." Jake took one step forward, his voice low but commanding. I can and I will. Karen's confidence cracked. You wouldn't dare. Jake smiled. Try me. By the next morning, every HOA member had that video in their inbox, along with a detailed report of Karen's harassment and the police report. We filed. Turns out we weren't her only victims. Half the neighborhood had stories. Fines for ridiculous reasons, threats, and bullying the HOA. Called an emergency meeting, Karen tried to play innocent. These are lies, fabrications, but Jake showed up with the video. Every word, every sneer, every insult was on camera. Within a week, the board voted to remove Karen as HOA president. Tyler was ordered to pay for a new wheelchair, complete community service, and issue a public apology when Karen and Tyler showed up at our door. Jake stood beside Lily. Tyler mumbled, "I'm sorry, Karen." Tried to smile. "We just want to move past this." Jake looked her dead in the eyes. "We already have. But if you ever come near my sister again, I'll make sure the next video goes viral." Karen turned pale and left without another word. A month later, our new wheelchair arrived, lightweight, strong, and painted purple, Lily's favorite color. Jake helped her decorate it with stickers that said "Unbreakable," and something amazing happened. Neighbors started waving again. The same people who used to stay quiet now stopped by to chat. Karen eventually sold her house and moved away. One evening, as we watched the sunset, Lily looked up at me and said, "Mom, Jake didn't even yell at them. How did he make them so scared?" I smiled because real strength doesn't come from shouting, it comes from standing up for what's right. She grinned like a Marine, exactly like a Marine now. Every time I see Lily laughing in her wheelchair, I'm reminded that courage runs in our family, not just on the battlefield, but at home too. And to every parent out there who's been pushed around by bullies, HOA Karens, or people who think power gives them the right to be cruel, don't lose hope. Stand your ground, because sometimes justice doesn't wear a badge, it wears a uniform and carries a heart strong enough to protect what truly matters. This story was brought to you by your channel, States of Heart, where real stories meet real courage. If you liked this story, subscribe and stay tuned for more powerful, emotional, and true life moments that remind us kindness always wins.